Hi there. Welcome to a session of Out of the Lab. I'm Julie Serakos, and joining me is Maurizio Savina. And today we're going to be talking about high definition modeling, or HD. And we get a lot of questions from clients about what is high definition modeling, what is HD, how is it different from RiskLink, and how does it benefit me in terms of making more informed decisions, especially in today's changing risk landscape. As I think about high definition modeling, and we start with that first question and defining that, I'm reflecting on RiskLink, and RiskLink has been available for the last 25 years. And at the time RiskLink was introduced, it was the first time that secondary uncertainty was explicitly expressed throughout the loss curve. So, Maurizio, how is high definition modeling informing a new evolution of modeling methodology and improving upon the benefits that RiskLink and our clients have had over the last 25 years?
Great, thank you, Julie. That is a very good question. So, we built HD models really following the requirements from the market, from our very technical clients. And in fact, I will summarize HD models under 5 pillars. First pillar is the fact that with HD models we are delivering the latest science and the latest technology. Latest science is needed in order to have a robust risk view, accurate in current time, where we see very large changes in landscape, in environment, and in climate. And the latest technology is needed in order to deliver an efficient modeling framework, also using cloud computing. So doing much more simulations to have a much higher accuracy in terms of modeling results in less time. The second pillar is regarding delivering broader geographies. So with HD models, we are covering more geographies, more countries within the same stochastic set, in order to be able to model what is the breadth of losses that the insurance industry is experiencing in the real world. For instance, in Europe, we are covering 19 countries in single stochastic set across wind, across flood, across severe convective storms. But also with HD, we are covering more sub-perils, and which are very important. And sometimes we call those sub-perils also as a secondary perils or non-peak perils. And I'm thinking about TC-induced flood or tropical cyclone-induced flooding, about straight-line wind, about tornado, about utility-induced wildfire risk. And again, all this is to account for the correlation, the breadth, but also the severity that those NatCat events are having on our industry. The fourth pillar is the fact that with HD models, we are delivering broader and larger stochastic set to be able to sample the loss distribution from high frequency component all the way to tail risk, which is very important for capital management. And we are increasing the granularity of those stochastic sets in space and time by being able to differentiate the location level risks and by being able to account for seasonality, clustering, and a number of conditions that are important in order to deliver greater granularity to our end users.
So that's great, Maurizio. Very detailed description. Maybe just to summarize simply, HD models offer better spatial coverage. They offer modeling for high resolution perils. They offer more granularity, and in a time-based simulation framework, all benefited by being on the cloud, natively written on the cloud to harness the power of the cloud.
Absolutely. This is correct, Julie. And in fact, we are seeing that our clients are already taking great benefit from those HD models for both the high frequency component, but also for tail risk. And in this regard, Julie, do you want to share some views from seeing how clients are making use of HD models for managing their capital requirements?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest benefits of HD modeling is really unlocking the ability to understand uncertainty in the ground-up loss calculations and being able to explicitly inform an understanding of how the simulation is performing on locations and how those uncertainties are propagating throughout the entire loss curve, whether you're looking at the largest loss severity, that's informing and understanding about tail risk and informing decisions about how much reinsurance is needed to protect that loss severity, how much capital is at risk relative to those most severe losses, and how to allocate capital to the geographies or the lines of business that are consuming the need for more of that capital. HD allows for the testing of that uncertainty in the loss outcomes. Whether you're looking at tail risk or you're looking at the lower severity levels where you've got high frequency perils that are really contributing to a lot of the earnings risk that is happening with carriers, in particular across North America. Managing that volatility in those lower severity events is really important. And HD models allow for the ability to really provide insight in terms of that uncertainty that is surrounding those modeled loss outcomes. So informing those decisions about setting reinsurance retentions, informing decisions about product development, and informing decisions about pricing. HD is really unlocking the ability to understand that uncertainty and be much more comfortable in decisions making, whether you're doing that for lower level, high frequency perils or the largest severity tail risk events.
Absolutely. In fact, I think it is a very, very important point in time that we are living today, where we see the industry is evolving and is evolving towards a much better modeling platform that allows more transparency and more completeness in NatCat risk assessment, really to ensure that the industry can remain resilient, to better understand risk and to better manage risk.
Absolutely. Risk is changing in its complexity, and every event has new challenges in terms of understanding those risk dynamics. So now, Maurizio, our HD models are only available on the Intelligent Risk platform and provided through our modeler application. And so how does being on the platform and Risk Modeler help clients inform their own view of risk?
Yes, very important aspect, Julie. So I would say that there are two key elements to consider here. First of all, it's important to consider that with HD models, end users have access to more transparency and more granularity. That is very important in order to, in the first place, to understand how models are built, how models are performing, to then decide if companies want to use the risk view that we are delivering, the default risk view, the reference view from Moody RMS, or if they want to apply their own view of risk, which could be based on own loss experience, could be based on own competitive edge in terms of information that they have at disposal. For instance, when it comes to technical underwriting, when it comes to risk engineering reports. So HD delivers more transparency, but also delivers more functionalities in order to adjust their own risk view. For instance, from the hazard perspective, users could decide what sub-perils to consider in the analysis. Users could also change assumptions when it comes to, for instance, key parameters like presence of flood defenses, which could be, walls, could be pumping systems, could be other form of mitigations that the real end users, or to say the policyholder, are put in place in order to limit, to mitigate the risk from the source, so to say. But also with HD models, it's possible to test the sensitivity around the vulnerability curves. And it's possible also to test a number of financial conditions, like for instance also it's possible to model bespoke hours clause, which allows the definition of the events of the loss occurrence that is used typically in reinsurance contracts. And this is really just a starting point. In fact, HD provides the foundation, the granularity and the transparency that is needed then to add more functionalities, which we will add following client feedback.
Which is really important to allow our clients to be able to sensitivity test their assumptions around that physical loss outcome. But there's also benefits for some of those non-modeled effects, right? There's characteristics associated with every event that are maybe economically driven that produce different loss outcomes for insurance carriers and reinsurers, things like litigation and social inflation effects, labor shortages, construction cost increases, super cat effects. So we're adding in more and more flexibility into our modeling tools and risk modeler that allow clients to make even broader assumptions about some of those other components of loss that contribute to that overall loss severity.
Absolutely, absolutely, Julie.
Well, thanks, Maurizio. This is a great conversation, and we look forward to another session of Out of the Lab.
Thank you, Julie.